Welcome to the Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast. Real stories, real struggles, and the brotherhood that pushes us all forward.
Dear Lord, thank you for this opportunity to come on Steve's show and just share my story. And Lord, I just pray that you work through me and work through Steve as we bring this stuff to the world, Lord. Let us be a light in a otherwise dark world. And God, I just pray that anybody listening to this that's struggling just gets some hope, Lord. I pray that they can just have a glimmer of hope. And lastly, I just want to thank you for just everything you've blessed me with, everything you've blessed Steve with, and everything that you continue to bless us with and show up with. So thank you, God, for everything. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Welcome back to the Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Steve. And tonight I am honored to have NickOKelly on my show. And if you guys know me in person, you know my family history. My father was one of the original members of the 160th Stalkers. And so tonight my guest not only was in Special Forces, for those of you that don't know, the Army Green Berets, but he was also a Black Hawk pilot in the 160th. He's got a book out called Stigma. Despite his career in proving that he's a badass, Nick has the courage to write a book about men's mental health and mental health awareness, covering topics like suicide, depression, shame, fear. That to me stands out more to have the courage to do that. So without any further ado, Nick, thank you for coming to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, man. I've been pumped for this one.
Yeah,
I know you
man.
have too. I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah. So, let's do it, man. Let's talk about the unit, because I know a lot of you're hitting the podcast circuit right now, and not taking anything away from Special Forces. That's obviously a huge topic for a lot of guys out there that watch the veteran podcast, but you don't see a lot of love for the 160th. So let's educate these folks, man.
Yeah, no, it's ironic that it's funny that you say that, right? Because like even my mom, dude, she has no idea what I did. You know what I mean? Like she's like, "Oh yeah, he was a Special Forces pilot," and I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay,
no.
that's cool, mom." You know, but
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So the 160th is, I mean, it's the elite Army aviation, military aviation unit in the United States. So we fly special operations units to the target and infill and exfil them with precision. You know, that's really it. We exist to support the ground force at the most elite level. And we're able to do it arguably better than anybody in the world. Yeah, go ahead.
You put that very professionally and very very humble.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean,
unlike some guys I know. But,
I mean, it's true though. And the cool thing about the regiment that you don't know from the outside looking in, right, is I was in SF and then went regular Army aviation. And I always heard these rumors about the 160th, like, oh, these guys are so professional. They're so good at what they do, you know? And I don't want to say like I discredited that, but I kind of had like you say that about anybody or any unit that you're not a part of, right? But then getting there and operating and being around these guys and like learning how they do business and actually doing the business, dude, that's so true, man. Just the most professional organization, arguably in the military.
I got to say too, man, I'm going to give them some props. Like they do a great job with the families.
Yes.
You know, we go to a family day every summer, get to go out on the range, and just the morale in general, man, is they do a great job of making everybody feel welcome. And my sister-in-law is living a life right now that your wife lived, and you know, I've got nephews and a niece, and so I mean, they just do a great job of taking care of the family. And obviously the 160th is not in the spotlight for a good reason, but it's really cool to see how they do take care of their own.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
No,
and it's
ahead.
funny because I grew up, I'm 46. So I grew up in the 80s, and Dad, you know, when he got to the unit, they didn't exist. So
That's right.
He didn't, even people when we were at Fort Campbell didn't know what my dad did. He was a pilot, but they didn't know who he flew with or what he did. And so I hear all these wild stories and who they were working with. And it was just kind of cool as a kid, even though it was gone a lot. I was like, wow, he's like, I heard stories of him flying and playing clothes and just doing all kinds of wild shit, man. It's like
That's
really
awesome.
cool. So I've been to several reunions and got to meet some cool people, and it's a really cool community. I have a lot of respect. And when I first saw you on Instagram, I immediately lit up. I was like, oh man, I gotta talk to him, because you're the first Night Stalker I've had on the show, man, and that's pretty incredible,
Yeah.
man. It's pretty incredible.
One of the few out there. So I have a big responsibility to represent, you know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah,
uphold that standard, because man, it is such a blessing to be a part of that unit. To your point too, and we'll get into it later, but they do take good care of their own, right? Like, it's still an operational lifestyle where you're gone all the time and you're always training and you're always going. But if you have something family wise, right? If kids graduating high school or whatever, like, they will work around that and they will make that happen for you, which is very unique in the
yeah,
Army, at least. Like,
yeah.
there's not many units that will do that and have that level of care for each individual. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's wild to see like my brother getting maternity leave, but when my mom, when my mom had him, they didn't do that.
Yeah, I
So
know.
it's pretty wild. It's pretty cool. But yeah, man, I got the utmost respect for you, dude. I really appreciate you coming
Yeah.
on here. So I want to
Thanks,
ask you
man.
this before we really kind of get into the thick of it. This is probably a hard question for you, but you've done both roles. You've been an operator and you've been the guy flying on target. If you had to pick one of those jobs, would you pick special forces or would you pick the 160th?
To continue doing, you mean? Or
Well,
like,
so if a
if
kid's
I could
listening
only
right
do one?
now, yeah, if a guy's listening right now who's in college or is in high school and he's wanting to go special operations and he's interested in both career fields, which one would you encourage that kid to go into?
So this is a hard one to answer, and I'm probably going to make a lot of people mad about this.
That's why I
But
ask you it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but if I had to pick, it'd be aviation
I
and the
knew you'd say
160th.
that. I
There,
knew you'd say that.
and
Yeah.
there's a couple of reasons for that. Uh, the biggest reason is, when you get out of the military, man, when you're a Green Beret, there's not much transferable skills to the civilian world, right? When you're a 160th pilot, you're a licensed pilot. You can go to the airlines. You can continue to fly helicopters somewhere. It's a much easier transition. Pair that with, like, the quality of life is also a little better. Your pay is a little better, right? You're a warrant
Mm-hmm.
officer, so you're
Yep.
making more money. So, and like I said, the family aspect is more important, at least prioritize more in the 160th. SF does try to do a good job of that, but
Okay.
it's a little more difficult with the op tempo
Right.
there. A lot of things are dictated for you, where the 160th, because we do shorter deployments, right? So we do 30 to 120 day deployments, and 120 is like a really long one. So that makes it very easy to swap pilots out, right? Like,
Right.
one dude's about to go, but he's got something that came up that somebody else can just jump in his spot. And it's not like he's gone for 6 months, like in
Right.
SF.
Right.
So
That's a good way to put it.
I would say the 160th,
Okay.
for those reasons. And flying Blackhawks and multi-million-dollar aircrafts, freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, I
It's
bet.
super
Yeah,
cool to do.
I bet. It's fun to watch those guys just go crazy on the range, man. It's incredible. Yeah, I just had to ask you that.
I never got to do the gun stuff, which would have been fun, but that's
Yeah,
cool.
it's pretty wild. Like, you're so close, and just getting to watch it, and they just do gun runs, like multiple gun. So my son, I'm going to share this real quick, and then we'll move on. A couple years ago, my son is 7, so when he was 5, they did a family day, and he got to work with one of the JTACs and actually talk on the radio, and he actually talked to my brother while he was flying.
Dude,
It was, I got video. It is incredible, and that was
dude, that
like
is so
the
cool.
coolest thing. And my dad was there too, so you had first generation, second generation, and maybe third generation. It was just cool. It was really neat to be a part of that.
I got a similar story to throw at you, and
Nice.
this is not like I'm one upping, right? But
No, it's cool. Yeah, go for it.
my
Go
little
for it.
bro, so my little bro, we talked about him a little bit. He's 3
Yeah.
years younger, and
Yeah.
he followed in my footsteps and became a Green Beret as well. So when I was in the 160th pipeline, like the training, we went out to Colorado to do mountain training, and my brother was in 10th group, and I got to fly my brother around
Dude,
in
that's
Colorado.
awesome. That's
Like, how
awesome.
sick is that,
What are the
man?
chances of that,
I
man?
know, dude.
Did he give you shit the whole time you were flying?
No, he wasn't on comms. We didn't put him on comms.
Okay.
We should have, but no. Yeah.
I
It's pretty cool,
I would not get in the back of a bird with my brother flying. I'd be terrified.
I'm pretty sure, I don't remember what it was. Like, we had to do some sort of risk mitigation, like big time because of it, because it's like putting two brothers in a helicopter.
Yeah,
But
no doubt.
it was pretty cool to be able to do.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. That's badass. All right, man. So how about we start from kind of the beginning? Let's just start out with your childhood. Kind of tell us where, where you grew up, where you're from. And I'd kind of love to hear how we've talked about your church upbringing on the phone. I'd like to kind of maybe get into that. And also, if, did you play sports and kind of how school went for you? I know you were an academic stud because you talked about it in your book.
A little bit.
Man, just kind of where'd you grow up at? Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Marysville, Washington. So it's like a suburb of Seattle, about 30 minutes north. My parents, we had a family of 6. So it was 4 of us kids. I was the second oldest, older sister, younger bro, obviously. And then my youngest sister had Down syndrome. She's about 7 years younger. Yeah. So that was a cool experience. Like, it was different, obviously, but it was really the best part, man, is just learning, like, seeing the excitement of people with Down syndrome all the time. Yeah. All the time, dude. Even to this day, man. Wow. Like, she FaceTimed me today, and I just have to pick up, and it's just super excited to see me every time. So
that's awesome, man.
Not to get deep on that, but it was a really cool and unique experience, right? It taught me a lot gave me a lot of awareness into that world.
Yeah, I bet. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. But very strict household. If I got a B, I was in trouble. It wasn't like, good job, you got a B. It was like, what the hell did you do wrong, right? So very, very strict, very legalistic Christian upbringing. Like, I wasn't allowed to watch Harry Potter. I wasn't allowed to read Harry Potter. I wasn't allowed to have Pokemon cards because it was magic, dude. Like, it was hardcore. Very hardcore, very restrictive.
Yeah.
I learned how to get around that and still have a fairly normal childhood. So I was pretty good at, thinking outside the box and sneaking around when I needed to.
What denomination were you raised in?
It was non-denominational, man.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. Isn't it? I know. It's kind of weird.
That's interesting.
Yeah. We went to a Calvary Chapel growing up. So it wasn't like, but I did go to a Christian high school, private school from like 10th grade up. And that school was great for me, honestly, but I hated it at the time because it was like super legalistic. So my parents definitely like went to the extreme on that level. I mean, but at the same time, I'm kind of grateful for it, like it instilled a lot of really good values, core values in me. Yeah. But because of that, man, I was basically like controlled into success my entire childhood. Like, it was, like I said, if I got a B, I was in trouble. And if I got a B, or if I like slipped up in any way, my mom would email my teacher the entire semester every week to check on me. So it was like, I didn't have a choice. I had no freedom to like decide whether I was going to be good at something or not. Yeah. So what happened, and the result of that, and I've learned a lot from this, right, is I went to college, and because I had really good grades in high school, obviously, because of that. So I go to college and I discovered drinking in high school, but in college I was able to drink without really consequences, right? And I was I wasn't going to class because I had nobody overseeing me and telling me I had to. So I got like a 1.6 GPA after my freshman year, dude. Like, it was bad. So I had to drop out. Drop out of college because I was on academic probation. I did ROTC, but I didn't get a scholarship because my grades were so bad. So it was just one of those things. I played baseball growing up, so I played through high school. I wasn't great, but it was fun and I loved it. I do contribute a lot of the sports that I played into how like normal I turned out. considering my upbringing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of kids that grow up in that type of household and they like have a lot of social issues, you know, or just can't interact with normal people. So that helped a lot for me.
Did you play like for your high school team?
I played freshman year for the high school team.
Okay.
And then since I went to the private school, didn't play.
Gotcha.
I played
Okay.
like,
God, we got so much in common,
regular.
dude. I played high school ball too.
Nice.
Funny. Yeah.
It was awesome, man.
I love baseball.
Baseball's the
Yeah.
best, dude.
Hell yeah, it is.
I
dude.
coach my son now. I love it. It's
Nice.
so fun.
I can't get mine to play.
Yeah.
He's 7. I can't talk him into it, but yeah.
You know, the hardest thing nowadays is like getting him to practice on his own, you know, like, cause there's so many distractions today. It's not like, it's not like you just get home and you go play baseball and throw the tennis ball against the garage, you know. Now he's like, I got a million things to do. So baseball's like the afterthought, but yeah.
That's cool, man. It's good sport though. Good sport.
Yeah.
So you dropped out of college. So if I remember correctly in the book, your parents weren't military, correct?
No,
What
neither
made
of them.
your sister join the Army? Your older sister? Okay.
Yeah,
And
my sister.
Did that kind of push you into the Army?
So it was more, I would say it was more the ROTC
Okay.
exposure in college. Cause I had there was a senior when I was a freshman who I stayed in contact with when I dropped out.
Okay.
And he was like, he was kind of like, dude, you should just enlist, or he told me to go to the high school to flight school program and try to go aviation. But that was a long process. I think I was like 6 months into it. And they told me like, hey dude, you're still gonna have to wait a couple months till you even know if you get accepted. So I was like, all right, let's do an 18 X-ray contract and go SF. Cause that was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life. So
what year did you graduate high school?
2007.
Oh God. Okay. I'm 10 years older than you.
Yeah.
I don't remember a high school to flight school packet back when I graduated.
I don't know if it was. Yeah. I don't know if it was newer or what. It was almost like a hidden gem. Like I had to ask my recruiter about it and he kind of, I don't know if their like recruiting numbers get messed up for him. Right. But he was kind of like, I don't know.
Never heard of that.
We had to explore it more. And
we got
really
the infantry over here. That's good for you.
Yeah, dude. Seriously. I know.
You don't want to fly.
Well, that's what they told me when I signed the 18 X-ray contract. They're like, just so you know, you're probably going to end up in the infantry.
Yeah.
Like most people don't make it through this. And I'm like, all right, let's go.
That's one thing I want to say real fast, man, for you guys that are listening, that it might be in high school or in college, you might join the military. You go in the Army and you don't get through SF, at least you've got the infantry. You go in the Navy and you don't get through buds, your ass is going to be on a ship painting stuff and cleaning the bathroom. So food for thought there, folks. That's something to think about.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, and even in the Army, like there's always an opportunity to get back and do it, right? Or go to Ranger Battalion or like that's what I really liked about the Army. And you can see that from my career, right? Is like just getting in gives you the opportunity for so much more, right? Because you can career pivot or do something else once you learn about it, get exposed to it. So
good point. Yeah.
It was really cool.
The thing, I did ROTC in college as well. And the thing I never understood. Yeah, I know, right? I had 2 years and met some really good guys in that program. Dude, it's weird. It's like we're long lost brothers.
Yeah, for real.
But I wanted to go Navy, and obviously you can't lateral transfer. And so I did my hypers in ROTC, but I always thought it was weird, you know, if you wanted to go in as an officer off the street and you went OCS, you still had to go to boot camp. And I remember I always thought that's dumb. Like the Air Force and the Marine Corps and the Navy wasn't like that. I never understood that. But so I think if I had to do it all over again, I'd go Army. I think that's
would you really over like Air Force and stuff?
Well, I joined the Navy, and I just think because it's growing up in it, I understood the Army.
Yeah.
Just because I lived on base, you know, I lived in Stuttgart, I lived at Fort Campbell, so I was around it all the time. And when I joined the Navy, I just didn't really, the rank structure was different, and just the whole branch in general was just so different. You know, I got respect for it, but I don't know. I just wanted to be a SEAL. That's why I joined the Navy.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be a ship guy because that's what they all wanted. Oh, go be a SWO. I was like, hell no.
Yeah.
It's not what I want to do, man.
For sure.
And I have some good buddies that went aviation in OCS. They went flight school and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. I just think, like you said, you have more options in the Army.
You do. Yeah. I always say, like, if my son joins or something, unless he's going special operations, I would tell him to go in the Air Force just because the quality of life is so much better. Like, you
Yeah.
actually get treated like an adult, you know? So,
Yeah, no
but
doubt.
whatever.
doubt.
It's always one of those things where the grass is greener on the other side, you know?
Well, he could
I
always
love
go
the
PJ.
Army. I'm
He could always
grateful
go
for it.
PJs. You know, he could do that route, go Air Force and go PJ. So
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
but yeah, it's a good way to put it though. I'm glad you shared that. So let's talk about, so you join the Army, and I don't want to give away everything in the book because I want people to go
Yeah.
buy this thing. So here's the book, Stigma. But you mentioned, we've talked before. So you get into the Army, you go to basic training, and did you kind of start to feel like, where did you notice your mental health starting to come into play?
It was actually way later. It wasn't until
Okay.
I transitioned from special forces to flight school.
Right.
So it was at the time I had no idea, right? I had
Mhm.
no idea what happened. But so just to catch the audience up, I did special forces pipeline, right? Went to Okinawa, Japan, which was amazing. Super grateful I got to go there. Did 3 years on a team. And then transitioned to aviation. So my son was born like 2014, and I deployed about 3 weeks after he was born for 6 months. My wife was active duty too. She was an officer. So it was just, man, it was a lot of stress on them, a lot of stress on her. It was like I literally left her on an island, you know, and was like, see ya.
Yeah.
And she didn't know
Yeah.
anybody. So I kind of saw like the future of, if I stayed as a Green Beret, like it was going to take a really big toll on my family. So that was one of the biggest driving factor for sure.
Okay.
So
Okay.
dropped my flight packet, got to Fort Rucker, and I was good for, I don't know, a year. Yeah, a year and a half there. I was good. Everything was going well. I was doing well in flight school. Then we had our daughter in 2016, and I didn't take any paternity leave, man. I was just in flight school. I was like, I can't risk recycling a class and getting
Mhm.
held back 6 months. You know, that was just kind of my thought process. So I just kept sprinting, kept going. She was a blessing, but a horrible baby. She cried nonstop and did not sleep. You know, like the cry it out adage, right?
Yeah.
Just let them cry
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
We tried that with her because we were like, I don't know what else to do. Dude, I'm not kidding. She would just cry forever. Like it didn't work at all.
Yeah.
So we were in a storm essentially, and
Yeah.
that was a huge factor of it, right? It was just so many compounding stressors that were just adding up in life, and they weren't
Mhm.
like, contrary to what most people think, like when a veteran talks about mental health, it wasn't PTSD, right? It wasn't from like some traumatic combat thing. It was
Yeah.
life, dude. It was
Yeah.
just life and pushing so freaking hard for so long, and it just caught up to me. So yeah, I was in class one day, and there was no lead up to this. I just randomly got punched in the face with suicidal thoughts just out of nowhere, and it floored me. I didn't know how to respond because I had never experienced anything like that before. I thought I was immune to it, frankly. I thought I was one of those guys that like it couldn't happen to because I was tough, you know?
Can I ask a couple questions real
Yeah,
quick?
absolutely.
So, you'd seen combat obviously as SF before you got to flight school, right?
Actually, kind of, not
Okay.
really.
Okay.
So I did a
Okay.
combat deployment to the
Okay.
Philippines.
Gotcha.
Since I was in Okinawa, we first battalion does a lot more JSITs, which are training
Mm.
other countries
Right.
forces. So
Force multiplier
a
stuff.
lot heavier a lot heavier on that. So I did a
Okay.
6-month combat rotation, but it wasn't I didn't ever shot my gun, you
Okay.
know.
Okay.
Like it wasn't.
Second question, because the way you were brought up in the church and you mentioned Harry Potter and Pokemon, did you have any exposure or understanding of spiritual warfare as a young adult coming up through the church?
No.
Okay.
Honestly, I thought it was BS. To be
Really?
honest. To be
No
honest,
shit.
I
Okay.
did not think it was a real thing, and that's I will preface that with I I got saved when I was, I don't know, 14, 13, 14, something like
Mhm.
that. But when I joined the Army, I knew what was right, but I drifted from it. I was not a practicing Christian. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I was partying all the time, drinking all the time. Like I was not comfortable enough even saying I was a Christian, if that makes sense.
Are you sure your last name's not Morris? Because I think we've had a parallel.
Right? I
I
know, dude.
I did the same thing. I went hard
Yeah.
left in college, and I didn't feel worthy to go to church. I didn't feel
Yep.
worthy to say I was a Christian either. That's
Yep.
wild, man. That's wild.
Same. And
Okay.
honestly, until recently, probably the last 2 years, I still wouldn't have felt comfortable publicly saying that, right? Because I just didn't feel like I was worthy of it or I was living up
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I totally understand that, man.
for
Okay.
sure. So
And
on the spiritual warfare piece, I just didn't really, I don't know. I had never experienced it, so I didn't really
okay.
give it the gravity that it deserved,
Right.
I guess.
Okay. I'm just curious because you mentioned that floored you, and I got kind of long winded in that. But when you were sitting in class, and then all of a sudden you had those thoughts, I didn't know if you'd ever had any kind of like, I mean, we've talked music off air, and obviously the metal world kind of
Yeah.
dives into some darkness. I didn't know if maybe when you were younger, maybe something was stirred up before you
I
got
mean,
to the army.
maybe, right? But it
Mhm.
wasn't anything that I could like put my finger on,
Gotcha.
know.
Okay. Okay.
Now we'll get into it, but spiritual warfare is 100 and 100% real.
Yeah, it is, man. It is.
100% real.
Yeah.
And I
I had to
experienced that. Yeah.
I had to fight some of that today, by the way. So yeah, it's real. It's
Yeah.
real.
It's 100% real, man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we can get
Well,
into it, but
I didn't mean to get you off track. So you had
no, you're
these
good.
thoughts. You're in flight
Yeah.
school. You had these thoughts, and I was born in Enterprise, Alabama. So my dad was at Fort Rucker when I was
Oh,
born.
that's
So,
crazy.
yeah, there's another
That is so
another
wild.
yeah, dude.
So wild.
So kind of walk the listeners through you have those thoughts, and I read
Yeah.
that chapter, so I know where you're going to go with this, but I want you to share it
Yeah.
if that's cool with what happened next.
No, for sure. And it's because I want people to listen to this like not from a non-judgmental thing, right? Because it's really easy to hear it and be like, oh, like suck it up. You just had kids and everybody goes through that. But the reality is like when you're in this moment, when you're in this depressive state, in this suicidal state, like you don't truly have control over your thoughts. You're not choosing to have these negative thoughts, right? Like every single day, man, I was pissed at myself because I was having these thoughts. Like I did not want them to happen at all. All right. Like I just want to make that really clear. Like there was no victim mentality or like, woe is me, right? It was almost the opposite. I was just pissed off that it was happening. But another really important part to dig in on is when these thoughts happen to me, like when I just didn't know what to do, I started obsessing over them in an attempt to fix them, right? It wasn't like obsessing over them in a good way. It was obsessing over them like, why are they happening? How can I get rid of them? And how can I prevent this from happening again? That was my mentality. But by doing that, man, I was giving these thoughts so much attention that it just allowed them to take hold of me and grow roots and get deeper and darker and more intense. So yeah, it was scary, man. It was just I didn't know what to do. I really
Yeah.
didn't. I tried all the Google stuff, right? All the meditation and
Yeah.
all that
Yeah.
stuff, and just nothing was helping.
Did you talk to your wife about it when they first started happening?
I told her the way she found out is pretty messed up. There was one night where, and this is only like a week after the onset. So it hit me hard and fast. About a week after, maybe 2 weeks after it happened, I was sitting on the side of my bed and I had like a fingerprint safe next to my bed with my pistol in it and everything. And that was always like the terrifying thought when I was laying in my bed, right? Is I'd literally see myself do it. And it was just terrifying, dude. Especially the fact that, or the thought that, my kids might be the ones that see it. You know what I mean? So it was tough. But I'm sitting on the side of my bed and I was just so scared that I called her into the room and I was like, babe, I need you to take my gun, take apart the pieces and hide them from me. Like just, I don't want to know where they are and just hide them from me. And thank God she did. she didn't know how to react, obviously. It was very, yeah, I mean, she was in her own storm that I didn't know either. So we were almost just like surviving and praying we made it through it type of thing, you know? So that's how she found out, which is,
Okay.
it's heavy, man. I
Yeah.
didn't think
Yeah.
through it, obviously. I was just desperate and scared. So that's, yeah.
But it says a lot about you, Nick, to be able to at least tell her and not hide it. And I've read the book, so I know probably more than the viewers, but
Yeah,
I want to give your wife some credit. I mean, there's a whole
bro.
chapter that she writes, and I mean, dude, you have an amazing wife. I
She's a
mean,
warrior, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, just
A
that
loyal
her,
warrior.
yeah. But but give yourself credit. I mean, you spoke up, and how many guys with your background, with the way you were raised, you don't make B's, you got to make A's. I mean, how many guys would have done that? I don't know, man. I mean, that takes a lot of
Yeah.
courage in itself, you know?
Yeah. Um, yeah, for sure. And it was
It
scary.
does. I mean,
It was
it does.
scary. It was,
And you
I felt okay because it was my wife, you know?
right,
Like
right.
it wasn't like I was scared. I wouldn't told anybody else, to be honest. And I didn't, frankly, for a long time. Other than I did go to the chaplain about, yeah. So I did go to the chaplain. Um, he had to bring me to behavioral health when I told him what happened, which is the last place I wanted to be,
Right.
especially in flight school.
Yeah.
Um, I'll just tell the story real quick. So I had to fill out a suicide questionnaire in the behavioral health clinic. And I did that. Obviously, I'm like terrified of the consequences or what's going to happen in my future. And I'm in the waiting room waiting forever. And I go back to see the clinician, and she goes down the questionnaire that I filled out, basically line by line. And her synopsis legitimately was, I think you're going through something temporary. Like, you're good to continue training. Not it was, there was like a come back if you need us, but it wasn't like, hey, you need to come back in a week, or you need to follow up in a week, like, or 3 days, whatever. And to me, and here's the spiritual warfare part, right? In my medical records, it says, in quotations, service member says there are demons. He thinks there are demons in his head. That's literally what I told that clinician, and she let me walk out, man. Like,
No shit.
yeah, it's pretty messed up. So that made me buckle down and be like, I'm not going there again. Like,
No.
screw
No.
behavioral health. Like, I'm gonna
Right.
figure this out on my own. Like, that was my
Yeah.
mentality. So
Man.
that's what I did, dude. And I just, yeah,
I
struggled.
want to I want to jump ahead real quick because this made me
Yeah,
think of something. So for those listening that don't know, I mean, obviously you flew in the regular Army and then you got to the 160th. So when you did your tryout, for lack of better words, for the 160th, and you had to do review boards, did they bring this up?
yeah, great question. They so no,
Wow.
somehow I think this was the chaplain. I think it was a confidentiality thing. I think it
Okay.
was not publicly in my record until
Yeah.
I retired from the Army. I think,
No kidding.
because
Wow.
I couldn't find that record in my like TRICARE online stuff
Wow.
the
Okay.
entire time I was active duty. But as I was writing the book, I found it. I
No
stumbled upon
kidding.
it, and I was like,
Okay.
holy cow, it is in here. Because in my head, man, I was almost like, did I make that up? Like, did that actually
Mm.
happen?
Yeah.
Like, because
Yeah.
I didn't have a record of it. So
Mm.
fortunately for me, it was not in my record while I was active duty, at least to my
Oh,
knowledge.
okay. Okay. Because I know how
Yeah.
those boards go from just
Yeah, that
hearing
would have,
family talk. And
for
yeah, I
sure.
was wondering how that was going to go. But
No,
yeah.
that would have
Okay.
definitely gotten exposed for sure if it was in
Okay.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Good
So you,
question though.
yeah. So you go to behavioral health and they're basically telling you in not so many words, you're fine. You're just going through something. So can you kind of walk us through the next steps after you visited behavioral health? Like, how
Yeah.
did the rest of flight school go for you?
Yeah. So flight school is a blur. I was very I was self-medicating. I was drinking a lot. That was the only thing that would like temporarily numb everything. So I would get home and literally drink half a bottle of bourbon, and then that was how I would pass out, because I was able to sleep and actually go to bed and not have scary thoughts. The next day though was hell every time, man. Every time I would wake up and it was just, the thoughts were just running rampant. It was wild. So it wasn't a good solution. That's the that's the moral of that story. But
Right.
I tried everything as far as like meditation, journaling, self-help books, listening to music, praying, worshiping. And let's dive into that because that was, I felt abandoned by God for a long time. And I felt like he didn't see me at all because there's this stigma, if you will, in Christianity, right? That if you're going through something, and there's even Bible verses that say this, right? Like lift up your worries to God, or if you're anxious, seek God in prayer. I'm probably butchering the actual quote, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was doing that, and I was crying out to God, literally like in the car, worshiping and just crying out to him, and nothing was helping. In fact, the opposite was happening. I was getting attacked more when I was doing that. And there's the spiritual warfare piece, right? I would go to church and have the worst experience ever the entire time, every time. Like I couldn't listen to the sermon because I was just sitting there in my own head trying to fight this war. I still made myself do it, because I know the value of it, especially for my kids. But yeah, man, it was tough because I didn't have a solution, and I felt like I was doing the right things. I was drinking, so obviously that's not the right thing, but you know what I'm
But you were
getting at
going to
with that.
church. You were still trying to take your
Right.
family. It's wild. I didn't think of this when I was reading the book. What this reminds me of? The
What's that?
story of Job.
Yeah, bro.
It really
Stripping
sounds like it.
everything
It
down,
really
right?
sounds like it, man. Like
And I
Satan
felt
is
like
just
it.
on your back and you're crying
Yep.
to God for help, but Satan's just,
Yep. And I
man,
felt like that.
yeah.
I felt like that for a long time. And the beautiful thing is I've refound my faith, and like,
Mm-hmm.
even despite all of that, like
Mm-hmm.
I still believe, and I still know
Yeah.
it's right. And I still
Yeah.
trust God. It's
That's
just,
awesome.
he had to, I don't know. I don't know if I struggle with this too, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I always say, maybe he allowed the storm to happen. I definitely don't think he caused it to happen, right? But maybe he allowed it because he knew what I would do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I was getting ready, and I just had this thought. I mean, you're in a world where warfare devices earn respect by what you've
Yeah.
done and what you've achieved. And now you're kind of carrying the torch for mental health. I think more guys are going to listen to you than someone who doesn't have that professional resume
Yeah.
to say, hey, I'm this pipe hitter, but I also love Jesus. And I went through hell to
Yeah.
discover who Christ really is. And I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I have not seen a lot of tier one guys come out, and Eddie Penny does it. I mean, that guy is
Yeah.
incredible,
He's great.
but I haven't seen a lot of them doing it, man. And
No, there's not. Yeah.
no, and I think that's in itself right there is huge, man.
For sure. I will give like Sean Ryan lots of
Mm-hmm.
props, right? Because he's
Yeah,
leaning into that, and
yeah,
he's
yeah,
really, really doing a good job of spreading the gospel, even though he's a young Christian, and he doesn't
yeah.
understand it all. But it's pretty cool to see that, because even the guests that he brings on, you are starting to either be Christian men or,
Mm-hmm.
have some sort of curiosity in that way. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody's ever going to really have it all figured out, though.
Yeah. Touche.
Even the theologians and all that. But no, I
Touche.
just think I think it's cool, man, with your background to be able to still speak about Christ, and you still have a really good you have a really good outlook on it, man.
Took a long time to get here, though.
I know it did. I
But
know it
yes.
did. But and who knows? I hate when people say this, but everything happens for a reason. But obviously, I admire your courage, man. I've read the book and some of the stuff you talk about. I mean, that, like it's in there
Bro,
forever, dude. I mean, it's
I
there.
know.
Here we could edit it out, but it's there, and
Yep.
that's
I
pretty
will.
badass, man. That's pretty
Yeah,
badass.
man. I think you alluded to it earlier, but like, it legitimately was, man, like the hardest thing I ever did and the bravest thing I ever did was speak up about this stuff, dude, because
Yeah,
it
yeah.
felt like such a stain on who I was as a man
Mm-hmm.
for so long that I
Mm-hmm.
was so terrified of exposing it, but like the power of opening up and the power of vulnerability, it's life-changing, dude. Like it
Yeah.
really is,
Yeah.
because I don't
It
have to
is.
hide anymore, and I don't have to
Right.
like think about, I don't have to worry about it. Now it's just out there and I can be myself. It's really cool.
So at what point did you, when did everything shift? When were you able to kind of grasp or get a hold of your mental health? Were you still active duty or did this happen after the Army?
It happened as I was getting medically retired. So, um, I went regular Army aviation, obviously. And here's another like crazy thing. And this is a humble brag, but it has a reason behind it, right? I graduated flight school as a distinguished honor grad in my class, man. Like there's, 30 West Pointers and like just
Yeah.
all these hard
Yeah.
charging dudes. And like, despite dealing with depression and suicidal ideations, I was still able to perform and mask it through that. And the reason I'm so like adamant about sharing that part is I know multiple people, and one of them was a really, really good friend of mine that took his life last like a year and a half ago. And but he was that guy that was awesome, dude. Like on the outside, nobody would have any idea, man. Ear to ear smile, just,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Just a light,
Yeah.
always a light to other people. But he was s- obviously struggling immensely, and nobody saw it coming, And that's the reason I bring that up is like, that's exactly who I was.
Right.
And from the
Right.
outside looking in, man, my life was perfect. And yeah, but I was struggling and I was in the pit. So, um, yeah, and I think that's important distinction because our culture looks at mental health. Well, it's getting better, but
Mm-hmm.
it we view like somebody who has anxiety or depression as somebody like cowering in bed and can't
Mm-hmm.
do anything, right? And they're stuck in
Yeah.
bed all day. But
Right.
no, dude, it could be the freaking billionaire CEO that's crushing it on the outside,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
broken on the inside. So
And I think a lot of guys that struggle, they stay busy. So
yeah,
they're not focused on it. I'm guilty of that.
I did that too.
Stay busy,
Yep.
stay busy. And it
Yep.
just keeps you, it's almost a way to numb it without using drugs or alcohol, you
Yeah.
know,
My
and
solution to subconsciously was accomplishment, right?
mm,
Like finish flight school, go deploy to Afghanistan. Then when I was in Afghanistan, it was go assess for the 160th,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then it was make FMQ, it was just always a
yep,
goalpost which kept me going. It was a good thing because I had something to look forward to, but
yeah,
that was also a way of just distraction.
yeah, totally, man, totally. And
Yeah.
there's probably way more people out there than folks realize that do the same thing. Athletes, like you said in the book, athletes and, high performers. I mean, and I think as men, we're kind of trained that way as kids. Like you said it
Yeah.
with your household, you don't bring home a B, you bring home an A. So it's no wonder you graduated top of your class. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not going to
Yeah.
fail. I mean,
No, it's true, man. I was
yeah,
trained. I was trained
yeah,
from an early age to do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's in my DNA.
yeah,
Yeah.
man.
So to move on with the story, I go to Afghanistan with 3rd Combat Aviation Brigade. During that deployment, I was still having these ideations and everything. And I started experiencing these dizzy spells, like just randomly, like I'd be walking. One night I was walking to like midnight chow after a night flight, and there were like 4 or 5 of us, and I literally just ate it, dude. I just fell over out of nowhere. Like it's like my legs gave out and my body just went, and I played it off. I was like, oh, tripped on a rock or something. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
nobody
yeah,
really thought twice about it because I played it off well, but that continued, and I kept having these just like the world just felt tilted and off kilter. Like it was just bizarre. But after that deployment, when I went to the 160th assessment, I was still dealing with the dizzy spells. The
hmm,
suicidal ideations I don't want to say subsided because they definitely weren't gone.
hmm,
They didn't have a grasp on me as much as they did. It was more this dizzy spells now, which later I learned was anxiety. I had no idea at the
okay,
time. I was convinced there was something wrong with my body now. because the depression was getting a little better, So I was convinced it was like, that's going away. Now I just have an ear problem, or, there's something wrong with my brain or something. I don't know. So eventually, we can get into, like, you can dive into any of this, but I'll just give you the overview real quick.
Okay.
So I get to the 160th, and situation gets a little better, right? Like, the depression is much better. The dizziness is still there. There's nothing I can do about it.
Wow.
It never happened in the aircraft.
I was going to ask you if it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I attribute that to adrenaline. I really do. Adrenaline and focus. I just think when you get in the aircraft, there's so much to do and so much going on that I think it was able to just mute it, whether it was intentional or not.
Right.
So fortunately it didn't, or else I would have said something a lot sooner, because frankly, I didn't want to put anybody's lives in danger, So continue on with training or progressing in the unit, and I had to get knee surgery. So I had like a hole in my knee that got bored out basically from wear and tear. Yeah, I was like, it's a genetic thing, I guess.
Okay.
That's why it doesn't happen to everybody, but it's called an oat surgery, where they basically take like a non-weight bearing portion of your knee and make a plug, and they plug that hole, so everything has to fuse back together. So it was like a 9-month recovery. It was a fairly significant surgery. During that downtime, though, the stigmas and the consequences were gone of not being able to fly, right?
Yeah.
But I'm still stubborn, and it took my wife being like, you need to go talk to somebody about this now, because she knew about the dizzy spells. I felt comfortable telling her about that.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was mental health, right?
Right.
So long story short, I talked to somebody about the dizzy spells. We do head to toe scans, everything, like MRIs, CT scans of my brain, nerve testing, stress testing my heart, everything under the sun. I get a sleep study done, was like one of the last things I did. And I got diagnosed with narcolepsy as a pilot.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
So,
and a night stalker to boot.
Bro,
I mean,
right?
Dude.
I'm like,
wow.
First of all, I've never fallen asleep in my life when I didn't want to. Even throughout special forces training, I was never that guy that just nodded off, right? I was never that guy. So it was a weird, I know, it was insane.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But it was a weird dichotomy, because part of me was so thankful that I got a diagnosis, because I had a reason. I had an excuse to explain these dizzy spells, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I was like, maybe I'm taking these micro naps, and that's causing my body to feel off, right? That was like that was my justification. Was like, okay, maybe this explains it. But I had to do a follow-up sleep study with the Army, because essentially when I got that narcolepsy diagnosis, the flight surgeon put in like put it to Fort Rucker. Fort Rucker said, Nick, you're permanently grounded from flying Army aircraft ever again. Your flight pay's gone, everything. Basically, you're done as a pilot.
Yeah.
And then we put in a medical retirement board through the same flight surgeon and everything. And the Army comes back and says, we're not going to medically retire you because your narcolepsy diagnosis does not fit the Army's criteria.
What?
So the Army has a very specific way of testing for narcolepsy, where you have to wear a watch for 2 weeks prior to the sleep study to validate that you were sleeping before, because they don't want people just sleep depriving themselves and skewing the test, right?
That makes
sense.
So
it made sense. Obviously, I was pissed at the time, but it made sense. So now I'm like, I'm permanently grounded from flying, but I can't get medically retired until this next sleep study. So,
man.
And this
That's
is months,
insane.
right? It takes
how long you been? How long
study.
you been out of the Army?
So I was still in.
But when did you get out? Like, how long have you been out?
Oh, so since I got out in May 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, 2 years ago. Wow.
Yeah. So fairly fresh.
Okay. Yeah.
So I get the Army sleep study done, and the results come back. Granted, this is like 3 months to get it scheduled, another 2 months to get the results. So I'm just like in purgatory, man, for like 5 months. Just like I was planning and doing everything as a new Night Stalker, except for getting in the aircraft and flying because I couldn't.
Yeah,
So I
that
was still
sucks.
doing all the motions
Yeah,
and just
that
high-fiving
sucks.
my boys as they went off and watching
Yeah,
people progress past me. So it sucked, dude.
man.
But the Army sleep study comes back and says you have 0 diagnosable criteria for narcolepsy. So you do
Hmm.
not have narcolepsy. So I'm like,
Really?
cool, man. So I'm on a permanent downslip for this diagnosis. Can't get out of
Yeah.
the Army and I don't have the diagnosis. So like, what the hell do I do now, right?
No kidding.
And granted, I'm still having these dizzy spells the entire time. So like
Wow.
nothing fixed it. So I know this is like very long-winded on the medical side.
It's
but
interesting though. I mean, you need to share it.
yeah, but the psychologist, so then I started talking to a psychologist like right before the Army sleep study. And it was more like human optimization. It wasn't like, behavioral health really.
Right.
That's how it was framed. But once this second sleep study came back and I realized I'm in this like purgatory, can't do my job, but can't get out of the Army. The gloves came off, man. I told her everything. I was like, screw it. Like,
Yeah.
there's no negative consequences right now
Right.
other than my reputation. That was the only thing
Yeah.
I was still scared of. Right. So I still wanted to keep it hush hush with the guys and everything and just keep it between her and I.
Yeah.
But I got on some anti-anxiety meds, went through like 5 different medications. But the last one that I took, cleared up these dizzy spells like 90% of them, man. Made a massive difference, and it became very apparent when they were happening. It wasn't just all the time now. Now it was like when I was in formation or when I was given a brief or going to a pumpkin patch, with a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just those like uncontrollable situations that you find yourself in.
Okay.
And that led her to read the symptoms of panic disorder to me, and they nailed it, man. It was anxiety, it was panic disorder.
Okay.
Just to kind of like, I know I breezed through that, but from flight school to this point was a 6-year period.
Okay.
So it was 6 years of my life that
That's
I was
a long time, man.
struggling, dude, and just in zombie mode, just trying to get by and still performing, at work, but not performing at home. You know what I mean?
It's amazing that you were able to get through selection and become a night stalker, and you had all that going. And I know the viewers probably don't understand unless they're in aviation how hard that is, but dude, that's incredible.
Yeah, man.
It
was a lot of grit.
Freaking miracle that you didn't nod off, while you were flying. Like that's all God. That has to be. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy, right? So it was a wild
I've never
story,
heard of
man.
that. Yeah.
Wild story. So I didn't have narcolepsy, by the way.
Right. But you were still the panic attacks and
Yeah. But and I never got dizzy in the aircraft. I never had there was never a moment where I was flying where I was like, shit, I need to ground myself, or I'm going to put somebody else's life in danger. Never had that. Even during the like suicidal ideation phase when I was in the regular Army, there was moments in the helicopter where I would have suicidal thoughts of like me jumping out, right? Like me unbuckling and jumping out of the helicopter. That was a thought that happened. But I want to make this distinction because I recently went on a podcast and probably didn't speak to it as well as I could have, like how the mind works when you're in that situation.
Yeah.
You're still in control of your actions. Okay. Like, yes, people do make that decision and take their lives, but at the end of the day, and I don't want this to sound insensitive, but at the end of the day, it is a decision. It is a point that you get to that you just don't see any hope in the future and you don't see any escape except for that. So it's a very intentional decision, the hardest decision people make probably ever, obviously, but it is a decision. And the reason I say that is because I wouldn't have put people's lives in danger. You know what I mean? Yes, I felt like I didn't have control of my thoughts, but I never felt like I didn't have control of my actions. Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah,
and that's
100%.
a huge and very important distinction that if somebody has not gone through it, which God bless you if you haven't, that's amazing. But you will not understand that aspect, right?
Yeah.
Because like I mean, and that's fair. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's fair to not understand that, and it's a good thing to not understand that, but that's how it works.
Yeah, it's almost like you're still responsible enough to know I'm not going to hurt any innocent people. And you talked about this in a book
Yeah.
when you were driving with
Yeah.
your family. It's very
Yeah.
similar versus having customers in the back flying and
Same
then
exact.
having
Yeah.
your family, So
Exactly,
yeah, I
man.
understand that. I totally understand that. Yeah.
Because it comes off as like, damn, dude, you were a danger to everybody, right? Or
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it
Right.
does, and I understand. I do understand where that comes
Mm-hmm.
from, because before I
Yeah.
went through it, I probably would have thought the same thing.
Are
You
you
know,
comfortable sharing? I mean, it's in the book, so it's already out. But are you
yep.
comfortable sharing? When you were deployed and with your sidearm and not carrying a magazine in your
Oh
weapon.
man, yeah, this one's heavy.
Are you
This
cool
one's
talking about that?
absolutely, man, absolutely. It's all out there now, like you said.
Right.
Like
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like no, there's nothing that can expose me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm vulnerable as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to that suicidal ideation point, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was having these. You have to carry a pistol when you're deployed as a pilot, all the time. Like whether you're on the fob or whether you're flying, it doesn't matter. You always have a loaded pistol on you, and that thought got so terrifying, and that I got to the point that I had to make a decision. Do I want to keep? Do I think I can keep living with these thoughts for the next? I don't remember what point of the deployment it was. 7 months, let's just say. Do I want to continue the next 7 months being scared because I have a pistol on my hip and I'm going to have these thoughts of shooting myself in the head, right? Every day, all the time. Or maybe not all the time, but every day. Or I can unload my pistol. Nobody's going to know that it's unloaded because I still have a mag in there that's empty, right? Nobody can tell unless they pick it up or something, but they're not going to because I have control of it at all times, right? And then when I'm flying, I have an M4 right behind me that I'm very confident in working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I crash or if we go down somewhere anyways, I'm not using my pistol unless it's a last case scenario, right? So you still have a go bag. I still had magazines in a go bag for my pistol, and I had a loaded M4 right in the cockpit. So my decision was unload my pistol, carrying around an empty, unloaded pistol in Afghanistan the rest of that deployment to protect myself and to protect my thoughts and protect my mind. So it was very freaking shameful, man. I was so ashamed of myself for doing it, but it was also very tactical and very well thought through. You know what I
And
mean?
also it was very responsible. I see it that way because you
I
still
didn't
had
think that at the
every
time, but
and I
yes,
understand that. I understand that. But from the other side of it, and you said 7 months, I'm guessing you were regular Army
it
during
was a
this
9 month.
period.
Yeah, it was a 9 month
Okay.
deployment. Yep.
When you were with the 160th, did you have the same same
No,
thing going on? Okay.
so I was lucky, not lucky, but I wasn't suicidal anymore when I was in the 160th. It was
Okay.
more just the dizzy spells, anxiety, panic attacks.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
it had transformed into that.
Okay.
So I didn't have I wasn't scared of my thoughts,
Gotcha.
So it
Gotcha.
was different. I was still struggling, but it was different.
Yeah. All that adrenaline going, like you said earlier,
Yeah,
probably.
for sure.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
And the atmosphere, like being in a
Oh,
unit
yeah.
that's very competent, people just good dudes, surrounded by good dudes, that helped a lot.
So let's hit on that real quick. So when you did finally kind of come out and you've exposed that you struggled with all this and the mental health, and I don't want to use the word struggle because that's kind of harsh. I mean, I've had a lot of mental
Yeah.
health issues. How did your boys at the in your unit in the 160th, how did they treat you kind of after you kind of open even when you got out, like when you talked about like what's their take on it or how are they towards you with all this?
Yeah. You know what's
Don't name
amazing?
names, but like,
I won't, but you know what is so amazing, man, is one, I haven't lost a single friend
hell
out of
yeah.
it. It's been
That's
the
awesome.
exact opposite. I
Good.
still am in contact with and really close to multiple people that I was in the unit with who are supporting me now. And
Good.
now I almost use them as an advisor, man. I almost say, hey, dude, what do you think about how I phrased this? Right. What do you think about how I talked about this? Because I want to be really intentional with how I talk about all of this stuff because it's such a delicate topic and it can be
Right.
taken so many different ways, right? So literally no shame, no shaming, no nothing, man. At least to my knowledge, right? Maybe behind
Right.
my back a little bit, but
Right.
I think the thing that's getting talked about more about me is just that, like, we always bash on dudes who go out and talk publicly about anything. So I
Right.
think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
more of it than the content. I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
I think people, and well, I know people that really know me, people that I served with and everything. Sorry, my
That's all
dogs are
right. No,
going nuts.
it's all
People
right.
that served with me know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
They know the kind of person I was, and
Mm-hmm.
they support 100% what I'm doing.
Nice.
I actually think I know it's helped some of them, which is really
Yeah. You know, it
is
has.
really
Yeah.
cool because it's
That's
allowed
amazing to
them
hear.
to talk to me about it, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah.
And
That is,
another point to that is I have been shocked, not in a good way, but with how normal this is to go through
yeah.
something like this. Maybe not to the
Yeah.
extreme of mine, or maybe not to the length of mine,
Mm-hmm.
but I actually talked to a former Night Stalker yesterday, a buddy of mine, and I was like, dude, like, what do you think about this? Like, what do you think about me talking about this? What's kind of your take? What's the vibe on it? And he's like, bro, you have no idea how many people you're talking to when you're talking. Like, you are not talking to 1 out of 100. You're talking to whatever, 70 out of 100, you know? And I was just like, wow, that is a cool perspective that I'd never even thought about, man.
Very
So
cool.
it's been
Yeah. Very
powerful.
cool.
It's been
Well,
powerful.
and man, I really appreciate you just having the courage to share your story.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
it's,
getting easier. It's getting better.
yeah,
But at first, man, it was terrifying.
it is. And I think, men need to hear that. I mean, it's not easy. And, when you share your testimony for the first time, even like in a men's group or a smaller setting, I mean, it takes courage, it's
Yeah.
like Joshua 1:9,
Yeah.
don't have
I
no
got that
fear. And
tattooed on my chest,
nice,
dude.
dude.
Yep.
Nice. That's awesome. That's
Yep.
awesome. But I love to see, just more guys that are taking ownership and saying, hey, you know what? I can't do everything. I do need help. And,
Yeah.
it's just, even with this platform, like us meeting, and, I've met some really good men, and a lot of us, we have our issues we've dealt with, we have struggles, but
Yeah.
it's a way to show people that that's okay. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you're abnormal or you're weird because you have these thoughts and these,
Right.
and,
Right.
so with that being said, if there's a man out there right now, Nick, that's kind of on the edge of giving up, what would you tell that man?
It's one of the scariest moments that you'll ever experience. I will say that. That does not make you less of a man. That does not make you weak. That does not make you anything abnormal. Okay. And it's hard to see the hope when you're at that point, but there is hope. You just have to keep going and you have to find it, but there is hope, man. As hard as it is to keep going, you have to do that because there's people that, I guarantee you, if you're out there struggling, there's people that love you and that want to wrap their arms around you. So I think one of my biggest regrets throughout the whole thing is thinking that nobody wanted me to tell them, right? Because everybody wants to help you. Anybody that cares about you or loves you wants to help you and wants to know what you're going through. And you don't need to suffer in silence, because that's the number one breakthrough, man, is opening up and telling somebody about it, because you won't get better on your own. You will get better if you tell somebody and you get an army behind you, you know? Um, yeah, man. And just be kind to yourself too, because I was not kind to myself, and that did not help me at all. That made everything so much worse. So love yourself and be kind to yourself through it,
Yeah,
as
that's
hard
great
as it is.
advice. It's good
Do it.
advice, man. And I
Yeah.
think that's, we're not supposed to be alone.
Yeah.
You need people in your circle, and it's hard to ask for help, guys, but you just got to have the courage to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's
100%.
where you talk about shame in the book, and God, man, I've dealt with that my whole life. And,
Yeah.
I think it's that fear of judgment from other people, but sometimes you just have to hold your breath and go for it and just say, you know what, I
Yeah.
need help. And man, I love what you're
And
doing. And oh, go ahead.
yeah, and that's the whole point of my book, right?
That's where I was going. Good.
Addressing these stigmas, man,
Mm-hmm.
because it kept me trapped. It keeps so many people trapped, and unfortunately, it's taking a lot of people's lives every day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's the number one reason, dude. It's because we believe that it's better to end it than to speak up. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. It sounds very simple when I say it like that, but that's the reality, dude. Is there's so many roadblocks in the way and things that we tell ourselves that make it not okay to speak up, that are just, they're frankly lies.
Yeah.
Your life is more important than any one of those things, especially your career. Your life is a million times more important than your
100%,
career.
man.
And that's
100%.
the one that gets most people, man,
Yeah.
is I'm going to lose my career and everything.
Yeah.
But losing your life is not the answer. I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it, if there's, you know, the guys that are listening and they want to learn more about you, Nick, and they want to pick up a copy of your book, what's the best way to, you know, contact you to find out more information and also to pick up your book? Can you share that with us?
Absolutely. Yeah. My website is NickOKelly.com. You'll find links to the book there, links to all my socials there. That's the easiest place to go. You can find my book on Amazon, on Audible, all platforms. It's called Stigma. And since it's so new, you got to type Stigma Nick or NickOKelly, but that's how you get it, man.
Great.
Yeah.
And we'll put a link in the notes for this to your book. And then you know, with the social media platforms, you have to kind of circumvent how to link, but we'll throw a link in to make sure you
Awesome.
guys can grab a copy of that. So to lighten it up for a
Thank you.
second, I got a question for
Yeah.
you, and you're probably not going to want to answer this, but I'm going to ask anyways.
Oh, I'll answer anything, dude, as long as it's not.
So with your background in the 160th,
Yeah.
I know my father has his answer. Who are your favorite customers to work with?
Oh man.
Yeah, man. You know, and for the people
man.
that don't know what I'm talking about, I'll let you explain what a customer
I'll just tell you. So a customer is our ground force. It's the people we drive around. The Army guys, 100%.
Okay, cool, man.
And I have a very specific reason for that.
Okay.
And it's because I have friends that are there and were there, and I got to fly them. So it was freaking phenomenal working with them.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's my answer. The Army guys, for sure.
Does their name start
100%.
with a D or an R? Okay,
Yeah.
That's what I figured.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
The tier 1 Army guys. That's
there you
my
go.
guts.
Those
are my boys, man.
Badass, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I heard a lot of stories about those dudes growing up.
Bro, just cowboys, man.
Yeah, Colonel Beckwith. I heard about that cat when I was growing up, man. Old school. But yeah, that's awesome.
Absolute savages.
Yeah, man. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild stuff. Well, as we're closing out, man, is there like a principle or a scripture that jumps out at you that you want to share with our viewers and our listeners? You have a favorite Bible verse or a favorite motto or creed or anything you want to share?
You know, I do. And I didn't think about this before. This just randomly came up as you were saying that, because there was one verse that I clung to during this that actually helped, right? I say a lot of things didn't work, but take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ, man. That I would tell myself that verse over and over and over again. And eventually it worked, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, that was my mantra. And
very cool.
That's what I'll leave you with for sure.
Very cool. And I want to share this one. I had a good talk with a friend today, and hearing your story, and we were talking earlier, and I compared you in a way to Job, in the story of Job in the Old Testament. So I was talking to my client today, and I've had some struggles, and I was kind of sharing some things. They offered me this verse, and I'm going to read it because I think it's very applicable to your story tonight.
Awesome.
This is Job chapter 8, verse 7. Though your beginning was small, get thy latter end. Oh, wait, hang on. Yet thy latter end greatly increase. So small beginning, huge ending. So you started out, in my opinion, you're this, you know, tier 1 guy doing what every young boy wants to grow up and do for the most part. But your story is even bigger, man, because you're sharing your testimony, you're professing your faith for Christ, and you're helping guys like your friend said, it's not just a few, man. There's a lot of dudes out there, and it's first responders, veterans. I mean,
Yeah.
you name it, CEOs. It's just a lot. It's a big group, man. And
Yeah.
we need more men to help carry this torch and spread awareness for mental health.
Thanks, man. And you
Really
too,
do.
dude. You too. It's it's not easy to do. It's not
No,
easy to jump in and do it. So
no. And if
yeah, it's
you
awesome.
guys watched my episode last night with Jason Tyler McLean, I lost it. I couldn't hold it together. I mean, it's not easy. And just because you've worked on yourself and I've been sober 4 years, and I mean, guys,
Nice.
it's
Congrats.
still thank you. It's still so it's an ongoing thing. You don't just get it fixed. And it's not like I'm going to train for a marathon, run the race. Now I'm done. It's you're working on this stuff every single day.
100%, man. I still have bad days. I
Yeah.
it still happens to me, right? Where I have to pick myself up and keep
Yeah.
going, But
Yeah.
the
But
beauty now is I have the tools, and I'm not ashamed to ask for
Yeah.
help when I need it,
Right. Well, and what are you guys famous for saying from the 160th?
Night Stalkers don't quit, baby.
Amen, brother.
That's
Amen.
it.
Amen.
Isn't that the truth, though?
Yeah. And you guys have a verse you use. I can't remember what book of the Bible, but it's I think it's Isaiah, and I will come out as good as gold. I can't remember how that goes. I should have written that down
Dude,
before tonight.
That may have, I haven't even heard that, so that may have faded.
Are you
Or
serious?
maybe,
Oh,
maybe that
okay,
was a
yeah.
placeholder thing. I don't know.
It probably was. They used to use Revelation,
Okay.
death
Waits in the dark.
Yeah, death waits in the
Yeah.
dark. And God, I was fascinated with that as a kid.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah, there was I think it's Isaiah, man. I'll have to go back and look, but that probably
Okay.
is an old school thing. It's probably an 80s thing.
Send it to me. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'll have to go find it. But so all you that are watching tonight and listening here on Spotify, help Nick out, help this show out, the Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast. Like and subscribe to the channel, and share this with somebody. Share it with somebody that you know in your life that might be struggling with anxiety, depression, imposter syndrome, addiction, whatever it might be, guys. Let's help each other out and just continue to spread awareness for men's mental health, and also help us spread the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Nick, it was an honor talking to you, man. And I love hearing your story, and God bless the 160th, man. You guys don't get the credit you deserve. And I know there's a reason for that, because you guys are quite professionals, but I never would have thought in a million years when I started this podcast that I'd have a night stalker on here.
I love it, man.
Badass,
I love
man. I love it too, man. I love it too.
Yeah.
But I appreciate your time. God bless you, man. And let's keep carrying the torch and spreading awareness, man.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for letting me spread the message, man.
Yeah.
Have the platform. It's awesome.
Yes, sir. It was an honor. I really appreciate it. And thank you for your service too, man.
For sure. You too.
Awesome, brother. Well, take care of yourself. I appreciate you.
All right. See ya.
Hey, stay on here, dude.
Yeah, I know.
We got him. Okay.